Today I'm revisiting the subject of Mach3 Screenset editing, and this time I'm planning on getting it right. Hello fellow CNCnutz and welcome. It was about 2 years ago I was asked about setting up a pendant like this here to use with Mach3, and I showed how to edit the Mach3 Screenset to make it work the way it does on my machine. So what did I do wrong? Well, as far as I can tell, I didn't do anything wrong, but for some reason the Mach3 screen editing program seems to screw up the screen set. It was originally mentioned to me and I hadn't noticed anything wrong, so I had assumed that the issue was people had just dragged buttons out of the way, misaligned them, and never really thought much more about it. It wasn't until somebody mentioned to me that it even shows in my video that the screen set has been butchered somewhat that I started to take notice and realized, yeah, they're right. I went back through and tried some testing with the software, and no matter what I did, I could not stop it from modifying what the screen set looked like and basically screwing it up. Now, I'd previously used it with other screen sets and it seemed to work fine. I didn't notice any issues with it. But with the 1024 screen set, which is the one I picked on because everybody has it with their machine, it just really makes a pig's ear of the damn thing. So today I'm going to put that right. I've found new screen set editing software that seems to work alright without damaging the screen set, and so I'm going to revisit and do a new screen set so that it can use this pendant the way, again, I like to use it, with the special jog keys and other functionality. But I'm also going to add another item to it. I'm going to put in my auto zero function into it, and this is going to be a new version of the macro. It's an updated one. And I'm also going to put a digitizing light on the front screen set. So when you're using an auto zero function, you should always just check that when you push the plate against the cutter, that it does register and shows that there is connectivity between the plate and the cutter, so that we know that the macro will work properly. So what I've done is I'm going to add an LED light to the screen set so you can just quickly tap it against it and check that it works. So without further ado, let's have a look at how to do it. So here's what the screen set can end up being left like after using the older screen set editor that I used when I showed how to edit a screen set. It certainly makes a right pig's ear of it, even though I never even touched this particular screen. Now, it wasn't this badly mutilated when I did it in my original video, but somebody did point out that it didn't look correct, and they were 100% correct. And it's something I didn't notice because I don't actually usually use this particular screen set. So here's what it should look like. We can see this looks correct, and so what I'm going to do is, instead of persisting with the old software, I've found some new software that we can use that works a lot better and is very easy to use indeed. We're going to start by coming to this screen here, and this is where the screen sets are kept as well as the screen designers. Now, last time we used Mach3 Screen Designer and that was screwing up the screen set, at least the screen set that comes with Mach3. So this time we're going to use this one here. It's called Screen 4. So I'm just going to click on it. In my case, I'm not going to save it, but you can save it to a USB stick or to your hard drive. I'm just going to open it where it is. And in that folder we will find this here, a folder called Screen 4. Just click on there. There are the files there. And I'm going to simply open up the C drive here and drag these files into my Mach3 folder. Now, I've already done this previously, so these files are already there, so I'm just going to copy and replace all 8 of those files into the Mach3 folder, And installing it is basically as simple as that. To run it, we go to Mach3, come down here to where we find screen4.exe and double click on it. And just hit run. So here's the new Screenset editor interface, and it's really nice and clean to look at. Now along the top here we have these 5 keys. Now if your PC behaves like mine, do not push them. It locks mine up and I have to force this to close and then reopen it. Fortunately I don't need those keys anyway. But it's something worth noting. You may find that these 5 keys along the top won't work on your computer, in which case it doesn't matter anyway. I'm going to come down here to open, click on open, and I'm just going to come down here in the Mach3 folder and open the 1024 Screenset. It'll bring up this here, desired Screenset size. You can set it to whatever size you want, but I'm going to leave it at the size it's come up with, which is 1024 by 768. And there's my Screenset. And unlike the other software, it has not butchered it. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to add a new LED light here to help with my touch off plate. So I'm going to click on this button here, and then I'm just going to use the arrow key to move it across so it's just in line with the remember button there, and that's that done. Now I want to add an LED in here, so I'm going to click over here to LED. And you can't just come here and click it, nothing will happen, but come to somewhere else, like here, and click it and it will put an LED there. Then just simply click on that LED and drag it up and put it where you want. Now this is a little bit smaller than I want, so I'm just going to, you can either double click on it and it will open like that, or you can right click on it. And it's going to allow me to change the width, and I'm going to change it to 19 pixels by 19 pixels, and that will match the size of this button here. Now take it up, line it up with the button, and I'm just going to move it across until it's in line with the return key. And there we have it. Now we need to assign a function to this button, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but I want this to be the digitizing probe. So I'm going to come here to the diagnostic screen. So these are your 7 screens that you have on a normal screen set, and I'm going to come down to the digitizing LED here, just right click on it, and I can see it's OEM code 825. Go back to my screen here, right click on there, and set it to OEM code 825. Go OK. Okay, so that's now given us an LED that will light up whenever the touch-off plate touches the tool, and we'll be able to see if it lights up. We know that we've got connectivity between the two, that there's nothing wrong with our touch-off plate connection. It's safe to continue on with probing for the auto zero. So before I go any further, I'm just going to hit save so that that is saved, and we can move on to the next thing we want to do. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to edit the stop button here, because it has the wrong code to match up with my pendant. So I'm just going to right click on it, that comes up here, stop file, and all I want to do is edit the hotkey for it. Currently it's using 2131. I'm just going to tick it or uncheck it. I'm going to check it again, and now it'll ask me to the hotkey. What I have to do is push the key on my pendant for the stop button, and it'll insert the correct code into here. Go OK, and I'll hit save. I'm just going to save it as I go along. That way if I make a mistake I can always close it down without saving, reopen it, and start again. Now I know that my feed rate and spindles are correct, but you can do exactly the same thing for your spindle up and down and your feed rate up and down. So the next thing I want to change is my jog keys. On my previous video about my pendant, I did a specialized jog keys for automatically setting the jog rate here to 10% or 100%. 10% if I hit the jog minus key, and 100% if I hit the jog plus key. That just makes jogging around the table so much easier. And I also have another key labelled single step, which I used for the jog mode function here. The jog mode button here changes from continuous to step and allows you to toggle between those two. So I'm going to do that one first. I'm just going to double click on it and it comes up showing me what's on there, and I just need to set the hotkey for that. Just uncheck it, check it again, and hit the single step key, and that changes it to the correct function, and go OK. So that's that key out of the way. Now I've got these two keys here. It's my jog slow and my jog fast setting, and these increment this here by 5%. I'm not going to change that, but you'll notice over here there are actually 3 buttons here that you don't get to see when the pendant pulls out. And so I'm going to hit the jog down button, and you can see it's actually OEM function 112. I'm just going to cancel that. If you come over here and click this one here, you'll find it's also 112 for the OEM function. And so I'm just going to cancel that, and I'm going to come back to this one here, and what I want to do is I want to change its hotkey. So I'm going to check it again, and I'm going to hit my jog minus key, and I see it's actually come up with the same code, so it probably means that these buttons were put here specifically for the pendant. And I'm also going to hit here Visual Basic Script, and it just mentions to edit that in Mach3. I'm just going to go OK. It's no longer that OEM code, it's no longer the same key as this one. And I'm going to do the same for the up button. I'm not sure whether it's got the right button again here, so it's currently 212. I'll uncheck, check it again, hit the jog up. It's still 212, or 221, sorry. So we're fine on that. And I'm just going to come over here to Visual Basic function edited in Mach3. And I go OK. Okay, I can save that now. And if you find when the pendant pulls out that you're seeing these keys here, just simply grab them like this and drag them off to the side. You'll notice when I went and grabbed them there, it put a LED on the screen there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to surround those and just hit enter, click on that one, hit enter. I'm going to come over here and hit none. Now I can safely click around the screen and it won't do that to me. I'm just going to move these back where they were. I don't think they're going to show up on my screen set, but if they do, I can come back here and just drag them out of the way. And that should be all the editing I want to do in the screen set here. So I'm just going to close this and we'll go into Mach3. So with Mach3 open, we'll just hit reset here. I'm going to start by hitting the tab key. Out comes my pendant, and actually you can grab and drag this here out, and there are those keys there that we saw before. So let's just check. We've got our jog mode here. I'm just going to click and you can see it changing between continuous and step, and now I'm going to hit the single step key on my pendant, and as you can see it's toggling between the two, so that key's working fine. My step down or jog rate down is decreasing by 5%, and the up is decreasing by 5%, so that's excellent as well. So now I need to program up those two keys. I'll just hit the tab key again, out comes the MPG, I'm just dragging it across. I need to program up these two keys because they're not programmed to do anything. It's got compiler script error. So let's just pull that across like that. I want to still be able to see them. Okay, so I'll just hit tab again. I'm going to come here to operator, edit button script, and here we go. We've got these buttons here which have scripts on them that are flashing. I'm going to hit the tab key, and here are the two keys here that I told to have scripts, and I'm going to go push the down button. Currently it's got none in there, so I want to put new script in there, and you need to get its syntax correct. So it's capital S, small e, small t, capital O, E, M, D, R, O, and that's the letter O, not a 0, space 3, comma 10, and that's my 10% speed rate. So I'm just going to go File, Save, and close that. Now I'm going to do the up button, or I'm going to edit the script for the up button, and I'll just go edit button script. And you'll notice here what's happened is when I've done this, it's not flashing any of these LEDs, and it's something to do with that MPG I've found. Even if I close it and hit the edit button script, it still doesn't start these things here flashing as you'd expect. But if you just come over here and click on this window here, I've found that it seems to clear the problem. Edit button script, here they are, they're flashing away again, so it's as simple as that. Just hit the tab key, out it comes. We want to now edit the up button. Just get rid of the word none in there and put in the following command: capital S, small e, small t, capital O, E, M, D, R, O, space 3, 100, and that's 100% jog rate. And go File, Save. So now we should be able to give that a test. We'll just pull that off to the side. If I hit the jog up button, the jog rate should go up to 100%. If I hit the jog minus button on my pendant, it should go down to 10%, and I should be able to toggle between the two like so. But my up and down arrow buttons should still do the 5% increment and decrement as needed. So that is working ideally. Again, we still have the single step button changing our jog mode here. So again, that's just top notch. So now I'm going to do an Auto Tool 0 file. At the moment, if I click on here, it says it's not yet implemented. So I'm going to come over here to Operator and Edit Button Script, and I'm going to hit our button there. I can delete what's in there, and I can copy and paste my new script in here. So this is my Auto 0 script, and this one has changed slightly. It's been updated. Thanks to Glenn Higgs for his help with this here. I've done a few rearrangements. The plate thickness has been put at the top here, so that makes editing the script a little bit easier. You don't need to go and find it anymore. It's got a new script date of the 20th of February. And this one adds some new functionality, which I'll be explaining when we go to test this screen set. It should make it a lot better. I'm just going to come in here and save. And that plate thickness should be the only thing you realistically need to change. There will be an Imperial version of this as well. Now next I need to configure up a few more buttons on the pendant. I'm going to go Configure. I'm going to come down here to System Hotkeys, and we've got the X and Y and Z buttons on the pendant. So I'm just going to hit the plus X button, and I'm going to hit the plus X button on my pendant. That changes the code, the minus X, and the minus X button on the pendant, and so on for the plus Y, minus Y, the plus Z, and the minus Z. And that's it. So I will go OK, and that's those buttons changed. And the last button I want to change is the emergency stop key. Some people have mentioned that it doesn't actually work on the pendant they buy, and while you could go and change it in the screen set, there's another way of doing it, which is nice and easy. Go into Pins and Ports, go into Input Signals, and come down here to E-Stop, and go across. This is where you put the E-Stop pin on your controller. But over here we also have a hotkey for it, so if we just click on there and hit the emergency stop button on your pendant, it'll put the correct figure into there, and now the emergency stop button will work. I'll just go Apply, OK, and now if I hit the reset button on the pendant, it can go on and off. Likewise, I've got the spindle on, and there it is, that's turning it on and off, and I've also got the speed up and speed down button. The feed rate also works. Unfortunately, I cannot test the feed rate down because it interferes with my video capturing software. Lastly, we've got the cycle start button, and I can see it's pushing that button when I push the button on my Pendant. So that's all the buttons on my Pendant now configured up, and the screen set's now been adjusted. I'm also going to come into config and go save settings. Now if you're interested in the screen set I just created there, you can follow the link under this video. It'll take you off to a page on my website dedicated to this particular video, where you can actually also download the screen set. There'll be a metric and imperial version of the screen set, and that refers to the actual auto zero functionality built into them. One is for metric and one is for imperial. But you will need to go into those and edit them, because you'll need to change that plate thickness. So let's get it installed onto my PC here, and then we'll give it a test. So to install the screen set, it's simply a matter of coming up here to view, go load screens, and here is my screen set shown here. I'm going to just pick the metric.set and go open. And there's my new screen set. You can tell it's a new one because it has this little LED there. So now the one change you do need to make is you need to come in here to operator and down to edit button script and come down to the auto tool 0. That'll open up this screen here where you will need to enter the actual thickness of your touch off plate. If you don't do that, it won't work properly. So just set in there what the thickness of your touch off plate is, and when you're done, simply go save and close the box. And that's it, done. Just come down to config and save settings. Now when I was doing the original tool, screen set editing, I did the system hotkeys with my X, Y and Z. Those are not saved in the screen set, so you will need to, if you bring my file into your machine, make sure that those are set correctly. And just reset these here as I demonstrated in the when I was showing the screen set. Also the pins and ports, input signals, and coming down here to the e-stop there, just make sure you do that key there as well for the e-stop if you need to change it. And just go config, save settings. So let's take a quick look at this LED here. When I touch the plate here, the LED comes on, so we know that's working fine. Now we're going to test out the auto tool 0, and I'm just going to click on there, and it comes up with our enter material thickness offset box as it previously did. I don't want an offset in this particular instance, so I'm just going to hit enter. Now it comes up with this message: briefly touch plate to the bit to start probing. That's to make sure that if there's anything stuck to the bottom of the cutter here that prevents it from making contact with this plate, then it won't start the probing routine. Now if we wait long enough, what's going to happen is it's going to time out, and over here it's come with auto 0 timeout. It didn't detect a touch. So we're going to give this another go, and this time we're going to hit auto tool 0 again, and I'm just going to hit enter, and this time I'm going to touch the plate to the cutter, and when I do, the PC will make a beep. You can hear it going beep there. Now I've got 2 seconds to get the plate back into position before it starts probing. When the probe comes down and touches the plate, you see the light here lights up. And there it is. It's a 2-pass process, and our cutter's now zeroed, ready to cut. So let's take a quick look at the jog keys that we set up with the Visual Basic script and see how they help us with our machine. So if I push the jog plus, it's going to jog at maximum speed, so it runs at 100% of machine speed on all axes. So that's really good for jogging around the table to get to pretty much where you want to be. Now when you want to slow down, normally these keys, if you left them in the state that they would normally be in, would decrease the speed rate by 5% each time you push the button. So you would have to push it multiple times. You'd never know where you were at speed wise, but by simply pushing the Z minus, I know that I'm at 10%, and now everything moves so much slower, which makes it that much easier to position everything. Now once I'm close to where I want to be, then I can move to single step mode. Pushing that puts it into single step mode, and now each push of the button in my case moves my axis down 0.1 of a millimeter. That's 4/1000th of an inch, so I can get an accurate position up, down, left, right, backwards and forwards, and it just makes using the pendant so much easier to jog around and position everything accurately. And that's why I've set up those keys. Pushing the single step button again takes me back to whatever my jog rate was set at before, and it's moving continuously now, so I can go jog plus, and now the machine is moving at full speed. And that's why I modified those particular keys on the keyboard here. So it really is that simple to modify up a Screenset in Mach3 and then install it onto your machine and begin using it. Now if you're interested in anything you've seen today, you want to download the software to modify a Screenset, you know, the one that doesn't butcher your Screenset for you. If you want to have that macro, you might want to add it to your existing Screenset, or you might want to download the Screensets that I've created. Then just follow the link in the description box below this video. You'll be taken off to a page dedicated to this particular episode, and it'll have all the links you need. Also, if you're interested in this particular pendant, this is the old version. The new version has 2 additional keys here for a separate 4th axis. I'll put a link to where you can purchase those as well. Okay, well that about wraps it up for this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join me next time for, well, who knows what. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, guys. Cheers.